Hey, how's it going, everybody? Just give me 1 second here. Sorry, I don't know how. I think it's like a minute off or something like that. I apologize. I had some coffee going, and my alarm went off to get the stream going, and I was like, "Oh no, what? I miscalculated how long it would take to brew some coffee." Anyway, how's it going, guys? Let's get a screen on here. I hope you guys are doing well. Hey, Julian, how are you? Yes, you are the first. I am well. Overpusher, how you doing? Almost midnight for you. Man, we're hitting everybody's time zones here. And Blaze, how's it going, buddy? What's my favorite thing to draw? My favorite thing to draw? I think my answer would have to be comics, but I guess it depends on the day. Depends on the day and the time and how I'm feeling. Comics are a lot of work, and pinups are really fun. I think pinups are probably the easiest things to draw for me anyway, just because I think most people are that way anyway. That's how we started drawing, right? You started drawing with pinups and all that fun stuff like that. But anyway, what's your guys' favorite stuff? Ben, how's it going? What we're gonna be doing today, you guys? So we finished up the inks yesterday on the stream for the next 3 pages. And now I'm moving on to doing the shading. If maybe you guys aren't caught up or up to speed or anything, I've enlisted in a gentleman by the name, I don't want to say his full name, but James anyway. I did a couple tests for a couple people to do flats for Jesop King. And he came out above and beyond everybody else. And you would think, just because of something being, if you guys don't know what flats are, essentially it's just like if you were to get rid of the line art, you would still see color where the guys or the characters would be. That way you can easily select it and stuff like that. And it's mostly, just putting in the hours and the time to get that. Now, what I'm trying to, my long-winded way of getting there is, I didn't expect to get the different variations of flatting from people, and it was actually quite surprising. But anyway, James is the man we're going with. He's doing an awesome job. So I've sent him the flats off for this. So it changes the workflow a little bit because I would go right from like flats into color. The color, I guess, would be the flats in a way, and then do the shading and stuff. But since he's doing that, it frees me up to sort of like move forward. And what I'm doing is I'm just doing the shadow. Now, when he sends me the flats, the way that I colored Jesop King, I can just copy and paste these over top. Save a whole bunch of time. So what we're doing today, and I don't know how long the stream will be, maybe an hour, 2 hours, is we got 3 pages to do what you can see right here, adding basically our shadow to the comic. Create now, sleep later. How's it going? Julian's working on his comic as well. Keeman, my man, how you doing? And Create now is rewriting his first novel for the third time. That's good. That's good. That might sound like something that's bad, but that's not. That's good. Draft 3 is good. It's hard enough to even start doing stuff sometimes, right? So, it'll be a nice little update, I guess, to give you guys. So the one of the things I've been doing is once I finish 3 pages of Jesop, just the inks, I send them off to a few editors, Marvel, DC editors, stuff like that, just to see, right? Like I've told you guys that I don't want to stop this project at all. However, I think it's interesting too to see like what's out there, right? If you're not knocking on doors, you never know what you're potentially capable of getting, right? And all that stuff. So it doesn't cost me anything to send some editors some updates on what I'm doing. And I think anybody here that's listening, in case you haven't, no matter what stage of the game you're in, unless you're just like an amazing artist, if you guys are trying to get into work with those companies, the best that I've heard that happens most often is, let's say at a convention or whatever, you sit down with the editors. They're going to go through your stuff. Usually the best case scenario there is they like what you got, but you need improvement. And to just, here's my email kind of thing, and just keep sending me updates as you grow. And if something pops up, something pops up. It's very rarely or very rare that fairy tale version, that I call it the fairy tale version of oh wow, this is amazing, let's put you on a book right now, like that signing kind of stuff. It doesn't really happen. It happens to some people, but I think most often it's the other way around, where it's just sort of like, okay, well, If something opens up, something opens up. Anyway, so I sent off this next batch of pages off, and I got a couple replies, and I found it funny, and this might make me sound salty here or whatever. Like all in all, it was positive stuff. Basically, just saying, work on my perspective, work on my anatomy. The same stuff I share with you guys and things like that. And just sort of got me thinking, just a little bit more. Maybe, and of course, depending on the editor that's looking at your stuff, they might not even like the style you're doing. They might not like a lot of the things that you do, right? A lot of it has to sort of be like that. You got to match up well with an editor, I think. Anyway, it just got me thinking, kind of going back to even what you guys were telling me before. And I don't know. Well, I do know. So Jesop King was intended to be 100% a webcomic. And I don't think that'll ever change. Maybe another project would be different. But it just got me thinking where I'm hearing the same things. And maybe I just can't see it. Or I see bits and pieces of it where and I don't want to say the critiques that I'm getting from these editors, not that it's meaningless, of course not. But I feel like I'm getting the same feedback that I got back in 2005. My perspective's shit. Well, not shit. It needs work, okay? Perspective needs work. My anatomy needs work and stuff. And for me personally, and I don't want to let my ego ever get in the way of any of this stuff. I want to always be critical and learn from anybody that's got advice. And for me, whether or not you put people that work at a company, any kind of pedigree that you might give them or something. I hold them to some sort of an elevated standard. They're able to make a living doing this stuff. So take some of what they're saying as an extra grain of salt, But all that considered, for me, I feel like right now with Jesop and stuff, I'm at the top of my game currently, And of course, I'll grow and improve and all that stuff, just like you guys will, as you guys work on your stuff. And I just thought it was interesting again, and I don't maybe it might come across as again, I keep saying salty, but I just was surprised that the feedback I'm getting is the same sort of feedback I was getting back when, you put my stuff next to my old stuff, and I would hope that it would be different. But the feedback that I'm getting from some of these editors is kind of the other direction. It's no, you're still you're still making the same problems that you were doing back then. So my main ones have always been clarity, anatomy. And in some lesser regard, perspective. So it just made me think along the lines of there's a couple things we're gonna have to do here, right? Either if I'm gonna continue sending stuff, obviously. Again, I said in the beginning here, it's all chance in a lot of things, and sometimes something you draw resonates with people that you don't do anything different. And a case in point is the Venom piece that I did, right? That we still have to get going on. The reason why we haven't been moving on that is Jesop King just getting pushed back and back and back, and I can't really work on that until Jesop starts to gets back on track. But even that, I'm getting I got a lot of positive feedback off that, and I don't think I did anything different. Maybe that's just one of the problems there is I can't tell the difference between I guess what's good and bad. I'm not sure. And then the other thing that I started thinking of was, well, if I personally think this is the best I can do right now, I'm excited about this. I draw it and I'm I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, and this isn't an ego thing at all. I think this is just an example of your hard work paying off. You look at something you did and you actually go that's actually really good. You actually not that you're impressed by your own work, but you look at it and you kind of have a feeling of, I'd say, proudness. You realize how much effort and work goes into learning our craft that we're all doing here. And if you haven't experienced it yet, I hope you will soon. It's really cool. Just going you can see it. You're okay. Oh, all those hours, all those social arrangements I had to push aside and all that stuff, it is paying off because you can notice a big jump, right? So, well, anyway, I'm just rambling with you guys. But anyway, what it got me thinking anyway was along the lines of maybe what the move for me should be is actually, again, and I'll tip my hat off to you guys because you guys always seem like you're on it. which is to say maybe just start looking into doing what a lot of other people are doing. And I'm an advocate for it. I just seem to not do it, which is just focus on make my own stuff. And if Kickstarter or whatever the hell is the thing, because ideally what it is to like, is this possible to make it the job, right? Like what I wake up and do every day. That's the point, right? I know there's the grass is always greener on the other side argument, where once, let's say, I got a job doing comics, or you guys, we all assume it's like, you know how cool that would be. And then you get it and you're like, oof, this isn't as roses as I thought. And I know that. I know nothing's going to be more amazing over the other. But what I would rather do is experience it and then be able to make the decision knowing sort of like what the other side looks like, you know? So it's just something I'm tinkering around with thinking there. Jacob saying, bro, you should put out 132 pages of Jesop King, throw it on Kickstarter to see if you have the fan base to print a graphic novel. It's the best way for guys like us to get printed. If you kill it, sell 1 million copies, the publisher will come to you. You're right, yeah, and you're right, and that's along the lines of, and I agree with all of that. I think it's, if you guys remember the mission statement that I continually say for this stuff, and to get me going is, at the end of every show I always say, keep reading comics, keep making comics, and I felt that I wasn't making comics. So why am I saying that? Do I want to be a comic book artist? Because if I do, the kind of work that I was taking on at the time didn't reflect that. I was doing mostly pinup work. I was doing, like, I would say, like an illustrative artist's career, pinups and prints and art for role-playing books and stuff. All fun, all really, really fun. But then I just had to make the decision. Okay, if I want to be a comic book artist, well then guess what? You got to start making some comic pages, man. And I didn't want to work on other people's stuff because then you get the pressure and the stress of, hitting a certain deadline that's for somebody else and blah blah blah. So that's where this came in, and the second one was to build an audience, right? That's all. That's it. Those are the only two things. Now, what I'm fearing is, because I'm sort of going down this, I don't know. I think I'm just more in my own head than anything, to be honest with you. So I'll keep you guys up to date with what's going on. I mean, if you guys want to talk more about this stuff, you guys let me know. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on it. Not just for what you think I should do, but the steps you're taking and the things, like if you've thought anything about what it is you want to do. How do you plan on turning it into it so it's your career, I suppose, or that it might lead you to a position where at least you get to experience it for a while to see if you want to do this long term. So I don't know. We'll see. Just to kind of go into your thing there, Jacob, as well, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it either. So the way this story is written so far, it's only 55 pages, right? So if I were to add it up and make it into a beefier thing, like an actual thing for print, not that it's impossible. It's definitely not impossible. But I don't know. Maybe it would just be broken up chapters. I don't know. I'll just spend some more time thinking about it. See how it goes. Create, I was saying, an artist now needs multiple avenues for revenue. I would agree with that. But just to add to that, so an example anyway is, so I work at a video game company doing design work. That can be anything from concept art to making shiny accept now buttons for a video game, right? And then I would do comic book stuff on the side, and Patreon and stuff like that, prints, so that I can make money off of that stuff too. And so I would agree. Like, I'm doing that right now. So I guess the goal anyway, or not? Yeah, I guess it is the goal. Is just to see, like, is it possible to have a career in comic? And when I say career too, right? Like, it's just, I don't know. Maybe in my own head, I always look at stuff like whatever your full-time job is, that's like your day thing, right? And no matter what you do, no matter what day job you have, you always have to have like a side hustle. So it could be prints, it could be making your own comic or something. I was talking to my brother about this, I think on like Friday or something. Very similar thing. Just been thinking about it a little bit more and more lately, where it's this idea of coming home and just relaxing, not even drawing, just if I want to draw, but just relax. And I've wired myself since like maybe grade 10 or 11 in high school, that I need comics in this case, not because of how much I love it, more so that because it's something that I can make some money on the side for when the inevitable happens. So whenever I end up losing a job or something. And that mentality comes from anybody here that's worked retail or anything like that. You know how easy it is. You can just lose your job. If you worked in food, same thing, right? You can just, oh, you're fired today. Cool. You know, like you're just gone. So if you've got us artists anyway, we're very, very fortunate in a lot of ways. Regardless of everything I'm saying, I believe anyway, that people always want some cool looking stuff. So if you can make some cool looking stuff, at least you'll have some money for the downtimes there. So anyway, is it right? It's not. Is it Sharon or is it? It looks like it's a. Anyway, they're saying, true. There's an artist that says that even when you have a job, continue to do your own personal work and build a brand around your name because no job is really guaranteed. And that right there is really, thank you. That's a much more precise and condensed way of summarizing what I was trying to say. Roger, how's it going, buddy? Have you ever talked to Robert Marzullo? He may be able to help you with some stuff. He uses Gumroad for his comics and may be able to give you some pointers and something. No, I haven't. I mean, besides, the occasional message here and there and leaving a comment on each other's videos and stuff. No, I think Rob's a great guy. I don't know too much about, I think he does, I don't know. I think he does storyboarding, I believe. Char like Star. Okay, that's what I thought it was. Okay. Got it. It's just because it looked like it was like a Japanese name or an anime kind of style name. That's why I was like, it can't be Sharon. That sounds like totally Englishing up that. But anyway, with Rob, no, I haven't, and I don't know. Don't get me wrong, guys. I have I have an understanding of how I could make money doing this stuff. I don't think it's hard to think about it. The execution is really what's important. Making something to sell is the first step, right? And then you're going to learn all your bumps and all that crap along the way. I get all that. I'm not really scared of that. Trying to turn something into a career, you got to know going in, or at least I do, that there's going to be some bumps along the road and a learning process. And that's fine. That's fine. And then you kind of change your game up and stuff. So in saying all that, no, I don't want to take your advice as wrong or bad or anything. No, the more experience you can get from hearing people's advice is better than not, right? I'd rather hear other people's mistakes so that I don't have to make them, right? And I guess maybe just wonder how deep we can go with this kind of stuff, but. That's one thing that I don't really have going right now, besides Etsy, is selling things online. And the other side is, I guess, I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure I don't want to be selling things like tutorials and stuff. I don't want to go down that route because that doesn't make me excited to sit down and draw. Doing this kind of stuff makes me excited to sit down and draw. So that just might mean, just because I get excited to draw, there might not be a business in it, right? And I got to be all right with that, which I am. But really what this whole thing is, guys, is just an experiment to see, take a year, do this, and see what happens. There's no stress, really. It's just, I think once you're doing something for a while, we've been doing this for now, 6 months now? Actual comic? Yeah, maybe 8 months now. And you just kind of get stuck in a tunnel, and your mind, or my mind anyway, starts wandering. It starts thinking. And once it starts thinking, it can be good and bad for me. I notice it can be a little distracting because what will happen is I'll start to look into what we're talking about right now. You know what? Maybe Kickstarter is the way to go because all I would need to do is, let's say, I don't know, it's a $20 book. And I'm talking pure profit here. $20 book, you sell... If you could sell 1,000, which is insane, but let's just use that as the benchmark and walk away with 20 grand. Yeah, your life might not be super cozy, but I mean that's a sizable. There's people that could live off that, right? I feel like I could live off that. and that's just doing like a book a year. And so my brain starts going into that, and it's like, oh, that could be an out as well. So I don't know. I'm just venting with you guys. I always like hearing what you guys are saying about this stuff because I'm hoping anyway. You guys let me know. You guys got to be thinking about this stuff for yourselves as well, right? Like it's all good. It's all exciting. It's positive stuff. I'd rather my brain be thinking about this kind of stuff than like nothing, and then always like trying to panic and figure stuff out at the end. Like why isn't this doing it? And then get all upset and over nothing kind of thing. I'd rather be proactive with this stuff, you know. All right, so this dude's hand's just getting destroyed. All right, save that up. Hey Ben, how's it going? Ben saying I'm wanting to sell prints on Redbubble right now. Do you have any opinions on Redbubble or the other posters? I'm not familiar with any of those sites, man. Sorry. I'm not. I don't consider myself a print artist. Maybe someday down the road, maybe. But I don't really, you know. I'd rather be doing comics right now. That's the focus. If I ever do get into prints, like becoming like trying to crank out multiple prints a month, we'll say, or something, then I might be able to have some more opinions on that stuff. So, no, I've never even heard of Redbubble. Well, thanks, Julian. Kick some hard ass today, my man. Get some tears in this guy's eye from the pain. Whenever you feel too laid back and not have a feeling to draw, and there's a pop up from your screen coming away, just jump straight to the laptop. We're getting into a symbiotic relationship here, man. I was saying this on the weekend as well. I have to start drawing without streaming because what I'm noticing is I don't draw unless I'm streaming, which is really weird. Because I enjoy talking to you guys, and it makes the time go by quicker too, right? Um, but at the same time, one of the problems there is like I'll start thinking, well, if I can't stream, like maybe I don't know, depending on the time, or it's only going to be something that's not like maybe worth streaming, meaning I can only really stream for a few hours or a few minutes tonight. So it's like don't even draw. And I know that sounds really backwards, but it's kind of in line to what I think you're talking about a little bit too. It's like I need outside stimuli to like to draw. Okay, so the light's coming here. Maybe we'll just put some over here. All right, so this page is. Oh, shit, I forgot Jesop in the back. This one's almost done. The next page too is pretty simple. It's kind of like this one. The last page is a little more complicated. We got a little bit more action going on, so it'll take a little bit longer. You know what I just started thinking about actually? Like, I don't know why this just creeped into my head. I'm listening to in the background. There's some. It's a random mix on Spotify, but good old Megadeth came on. And thrash metal. That's really the answer. If you got life's questions, listen to some thrash metal. Some words of wisdom in that music. But anyway, I know I just started thinking. I forget what lyric just sort of triggered it. But the crux of what I was talking about at the start of the stream here was fed off of a reply from a person. And that person is one of, I guess, the gatekeepers, we'll call them. I don't want that to make them sound like a bad person. They're not. But really what it comes down to, I think, is I didn't get upset. I don't want to make it sound like I got upset. But I was disappointed, probably the better word. Disappointed that the replies that I'm getting from editors are the same replies that I've gotten fucking like 10 years ago, right? And that's fine. There's nothing, whatever. But the problem, 100%, obviously, is me, right? But I think it's just because I keep coming back to this, almost, it's up to other people to give me the shot, to give me the chance. Like, even making my own thing here, it's kind of like it's up, like, as long as I make it, then it's up to you guys and the people that read it. So if I were to make this to sell, then it's up to you guys to like do it, right? Which is actually, it's just thinking like that's actually pissing me off a bit. I'm disappointed myself a little because it has nothing to do with you guys, and it has nothing to do with the gatekeepers or whoever, whatever title we'll give editors, right? It's like you gotta get it. If it's not there to get, you have to make it, right? And that just feels a little bit more right. And I don't know why that, like, I talk like this all the time, and sometimes I guess you just got to hear things a couple times differently, and then it just clicks in. But maybe what I think that just might be more the answer. Is stop. I mean, maybe continue. I don't think I'd stop sending stuff because again, you never know, right? You always keep your opportunities open, but at the same time, it's like just not that I don't think I'm sitting around waiting necessarily. Maybe I am. I don't know if you guys feel that way with your stuff too, but it's like that's why I'm in awe of a lot of people that even go to Kickstarter. I guess it's because like they're not waiting for anybody. They're making something and they're like, hey, it's out there. If you guys would like it, cool. And then it's even on them, right, to inspire sharing and getting other people to get into it, right? It's a little bit more, I guess, entrepreneurial, I suppose. I gotta incorporate more of that. Because right now, I think what's happening, what I don't think it is happening, is I'm just in the bubble of making stuff, which is really fun. But the next stage, and I did say this before. Some of you guys asked this before, and I told you the game plan, right? Like, so this whole thing would go until we launched in March of this year, I believe, 2017, right? So all I have to do until 2018 in March is just make pages and share online and see what grows from a year. After a year, that's like a lot of content, and then I can start to figure out how to make money, right? So it's sort of like, all right, that is the plan, but because it's so far away, I just keep forgetting about it, I think. Maybe I got to put it on my wall or something. Okay? It's like a weight loss goal. You can't look at your body every week. You got to look at the numbers. You got to look at the numbers. A week or a month in, 6 months in, look at the numbers like, shit, that's down 20 pounds. I look the exact same, but I lost 20 pounds. That's where it's coming from. Okay, anyway, thanks, Julian. The action seems pretty on point. I like it. Dude, yes, I'm getting better at not accepting excuses on giving myself reasons not to draw. Called my bullshit yesterday before I went to sleep and drew for like an hour before bed. My man. I like it. What song is it? I forget. All I remember is like The Land of Opportunity. I think that was. Let me see. Okay, we got Testament on. The song was. Give me a second. I got an ad on right now. I just remember that. Yeah, that's what the line was. The Land of Opportunity, right? And what is opportunity? It's not just. It's stuff there for you to just. You just get it. You have the opportunity to make something, create something, take it. I think maybe that's what it is too. Like even with Marvel DC stuff, and I'm, like I say, I've always said I don't want to shut on anybody working there or anything for there. I'd love to give it a shot just to see it, But it's still the same routine as I think we've all grown up, most of us, with work, where you hand in a resume and then you get employment, right? Whereas sort of what I'm doing right now and what I think some of you guys might want to do too down the road is it's not necessarily you want to do that. You want to just make something and be paid for it. You know what I mean? So it's a little different. Let me see if I get this song. I think it's after this ad. One sec. Yeah, Spider-Man's this week too, isn't it? Tornado of Souls by Megadeth. Chris put it in right in the beginning. Right on time. Hey, Key Guy, how's it going? Artifigs, how's it going, man? Appreciate it when you stop in. Key Guy, reading the chat here. I can't talk as I bullshit myself a lot. I don't even kick myself in the butt to create more web design, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Yeah, it's all good. I know, like, I don't know. I keep saying I think because I'm trying to, like, soften up what I'll say, which is pretty lame to do. But if we all just stop pushing blame, and it could be as little things as like what I was doing, the little sissy stuff, right? Where it's got me on tilt now. I hear this thing in the same. I'm sending stuff to editors. I'm hearing the same feedback as when I was, when I was 10 years younger, you know. And it's like, really? But they don't. There's no context to that, right? An editor looks at your stuff now, unless there's been a long-term relationship. They don't. It's not the same. Or you guys know in context of if you're getting the same feedback, like what I should be thinking instead. And I'm not salty about it at all, even though this probably sounds like I am. But it's just like, man, really? That's all? I'm still stuck on what people see, right? But again, with the context in there, that editor, and they still want me to send stuff, you know, which is great, obviously, which is great. But they don't have the context of like, oh, well, this is how it used to look, because it doesn't matter, because to them they need stuff today, right? So I'm still stuck in the past, and I'm still getting or where it's leading anyway was the crap we're kind of talking about right now, or I'm talking about, which is it doesn't even matter. Just move on, man. Just keep doing your thing. Be more aggressive with creating opportunity for yourself and making opportunity for yourself is really what the crux of this is. It's not relying on, and maybe that's what it is. Like a lot of us, myself, I'll say for sure, relied on a lot of people growing up with jobs and employment, right? So the idea of you going out on your own and making stuff, it's like, oh, how do I do it? I've never been trained in that sort of lifestyle, you know? So anyway, just fun stuff to talk about. Homecoming is on Friday. Oh, man. I could go for a good Spider-Man movie. Alright, this page is done. Let's grab the next one. So this one we got Jesop given superplexes. Oh, I'll show you guys this too. This is how I've been sending the flat or the line art to James to do flats. So if you guys ever wanted to kind of see an example of what you could do if you're sending people art, so you might notice there's no background. Okay, so he doesn't need one. He's going to put one in anyway, so there's no reason for me to make one. I mean, I guess I could. I just don't know if he's got other things. So what I like to do for James anyway is the frame here. I put that on its own layer, so he can still have the selection, but it's not part of the artwork, right? The art itself is on its own, and then I have this folder called Special Effects. This is all things like speed lines and stuff that I know I'm going to color down the road. But if you notice, like you see like this white, like Jesop like spinning behind the guy. Which one is it? I think it might be even like one of these ones. All right. Well, it's here somewhere. Not that it really matters, but I like to have all these on a separate layer. That way, again, like I said, when he adds flats to it, it's still over top everything, and I don't have to worry about going in there and specifically selecting a special effect, we'll call it, for color. Most people probably won't even have that layer. It'll probably be merged with your inking layer and stuff. So we get a white layer in there, and yeah, that's fine. Since all we're doing is shadows right now anyway, it doesn't even really matter. Hey James, how's it going, buddy? Kika, I do wonder what it takes these days to be self-sufficient as an artist, either comics, illustration, animation. It's not just talent and hard work, even meaning luck and etc. I think luck always, whether you believe in it or not, I think luck has always been there. Chance and timing. I think more people get jobs based off of just sheer. I'd encompass timing and chance and a fluke, whatever, in luck. That's what I would call that. So you're in an elevator. You sent an email to an editor saying, "Hey, here's a new batch of new stuff," and an artist that they plan on hiring for something fell through, and you just happen to be the first person there. Anybody that's worked a retail job or worked, I suppose, a job anywhere, you guys must know. A great example, EB Games. When I worked there, we got stacks of resumes a month. I mean, stacks. Because everybody wants to work at a video game place, right? And I remember people, like some of the bosses, just throwing resumes out, even though you're not supposed to. But we would get so many, they didn't have anything to. What do I do with all that, right? So they just throw it out, and they never stopped coming. You just get all these ones. And when somebody quit or we needed to hire somebody, it was always like right off the top. So that just led me to believe. I know retail's a little different, but the mannerisms I imagine are the same. If you get projects or work that all of a sudden, another example I suppose is we're hiring at my day job, right, the video game place, and I don't know because I'm not part of that anymore. Or I'm not in like the management team at all at work like I was in retail, so I don't know the volume of resumes that come in, right? But once we're hiring, all of a sudden, then we go on the hunt to look for people, right? So that right there, that in and of itself proves that it's timing. That's all it is, and it's just kind of be there. The only difference is if you know like X amount of, I don't know, months or a year or a few weeks out. I don't know, some sort of time where it's like that you're going to need to hire somebody, and then you could sit down and research the best candidate. Because I don't think that exists. Even where I'm at right now, I'm hearing people getting hired just because they have a qualification, and we just happen to be in an explosive growth period. You know what I mean? So it has nothing to do necessarily with the skills. It's sort of like fill the body in here as long as they have some qualifications, and then they'll learn the ropes along the way. So I imagine it's the same anywhere. How many? Actually, I can bring in another one. I've had people ask me to draw comics for them, and they just happen to be ready to make a comic book. They've finished their script and all that stuff, and now they're looking for an artist, but they're not. They might look online. The few that I've had, it's like it's me and a few other people that they've been eyeballing, right? Which is great. And a couple I've actually prodded a little bit, going like, "So what was it? What was it that you looked at?" And it was just like they went to a forum, they scrolled down, and it was like, "I like that one, I like that one, and I like that one," and then just reach out to them. It was not like they have a pull file of the best artists they've come across over a period of time. And now we're gonna reach out to that person. It's always, you know what I mean? It always feels like it's like how I'm saying there. So instead of waiting for all of that shit, really, more energy should just be focused on like, okay, well, so you can bypass all that crap. What do I need to do to start mobilizing my own thing while still doing all that stuff, right? Like, obviously, don't stop trying to get a job if that's what you want to do, but. Anyway, Rambletown. Thanks, James. I appreciate the. Sorry. Yeah, thanks, James. I appreciate the flattery there, bud. Julian separates the line art from. Great, I like it. Panos, how's it going, man? Would you mind sharing the feedback the editors say to you? Oh, sure. Yeah, I have no. I'm not in any position where I'm not allowed to talk about anything. So if you guys ever have questions, feel free. Always throw it out there. I'm an open book unless there's an NDA somewhere along the line where I can't. But the batch I just sent out over the weekend, I had 3, I think, reply. 2 of them said thanks. That's it. Which is, to me, it's the best. It's like, that person's going through some volume of emails, but at least they replied, which is great. And again, it just reiterates the fact that it's there. When I always think anyway, and I could be wrong, when I get an editor that replies with something that says just thanks, they're being polite, obviously, but like they're not looking for somebody to fill a role. They're booked. Everything's taken care of. They got other fires to put out, right? That's why, again, I that little tangent I went into is why I put everything into luck with a lot of that stuff. Because really, I think few projects are like, okay, well, when the stars align with these X creators, then we can finally pull the trigger and make that one book. I don't, I don't think that exists. I don't know. So anyway, so there's that one, and then the other one, the gentleman said, because I'm sending him Jesop King pages, and to be fair, I know, I mean, I'm doing a bad thing by sending Jesop King pages, because it's the only thing I'm working on. But imagine this, okay? So I'm sending, let's say, Marvel and DC this. They look at it like, okay, this big muscle dude looks like a human, cool. Fighting some sort of monster, cool. There's no New York, there's no Metropolis, there's no women, there's no old ladies and grandmas and buses and dogs and parks and tree, right? Like, I'm not sending something appropriate to them for superhero work. I think, right? So I understand that the feedback I do get, most likely, if it's any, is along the lines of like, this isn't appropriate. So I have been thinking, and I've shared it with you guys too, of actually doing a and it's actually a trick. Freddie Williams, I reached out to him to ask him what he thought about some stuff, and he had a really good what's the word I want to say here, idea for how to put together a pitch, and I want to try it. It's just making the time to do it, really. And it's, let's say it's, I could probably even do three. You could do a 3-page Marvel story and a 3-page DC story. It's the exact same art, it's the exact same everything, but you know how we do everything digital? I can turn layers on and off. So the idea is to take heroes that are similar, and then I would just have to redraw them where they would be in the page. So that saves you a whole bunch of time from having to redraw backgrounds necessarily and stuff like that, right? So let's say it was, I don't know, Captain America for the Marvel one, and then on the DC side, who would you put? You could just probably make them into Batman, maybe, right? Kind of. I don't know. There might be some stuff you could change, but as long as all of the characters, for the most part, are on their own layer, you can kind of redraw it. But regardless, it saves a lot of time. So that's something I've been considering doing, is just sending that stuff out just to see it. So anyway, I sent the one editor the stuff, and he said pretty much what I just said. It'd be nice to see some more humans. Do you have any samples that show like people, right? And then I told him, sadly not. This is the webcomic. I don't want to ramble too much on what I'm doing, and it's mostly aliens and stuff like that right now. But I did send him a couple commissions that I did on Patreon of people, because he wanted to see faces and stuff, right? So it was like, if you guys remember the Professor X we did, I sent him that. The Iron Fist, or actually I'll just open up. I'll show you guys what I sent them. And the reply I got from this was, keep working on your perspective and keep working on your anatomy. And I don't want, I'm not saying that to like call them out as like they don't know what they're talking about, because that's not the case at all. That's just the feedback that one person gave me. So I gave him this one. What was the other one? Again, I don't necessarily know if this is like appropriate stuff to be sending. Where's the Professor X? So that one, and then we had the Iron Fist here. You guys remember that one? And I don't know, is it still in here? Yeah, right there. And the Professor X. Just because I knew it was people faces. Again, it's not women. I don't draw enough women. I know that. But yeah, so I just wanted to send there just to see, just get the feedback. So the comments were, again, anatomy and perspective, which is, it's fine, right? And regardless to whatever, I already had my little spiel on that. So, yep. Oh, right. Sorry, Roger. So Roger was saying like Robert Marzullo and those cats, they use Gumroad to sell their comic. So when I moved to see if there's a way to monetize on this, there was a YouTube video I watched with damn, I don't even know I don't even remember his name. Crap. He's part of a group that started like a webcomic thing. Uh, Mark Miller, Mark Millar, is that? I think that's his name. Forget the name of his. You guys might know what the hell his site is. It's escaping right now. But he was interested in seeing a little bit of comicsology and all that stuff. And apparently he was saying he didn't throw out numbers, but he was very happy with the results he's getting there. Now, of course, there's some, obviously, I'm not saying anybody who goes to comicsology is just going to clean up, but at the same time, I think it piqued my interest, going like, okay, so there is an audience out there, and I've always shared it with you guys. I have found it to be true that a lot of the people I keep asking, more and more people are just consuming comics digitally through a phone. And tablet close second. I think tablet, no, it was paper and digital, just digital in general, were tied, with a phone being the leader in the digital space, with a tablet being second, which I always thought was really friggin' interesting. But it just makes me believe that for digital consumption, people are just doing what people do. It's on the toilet, you know? It's like video games. Mostly everything's played on a toilet or a commute or something, right? So the audience is there. But anyway, long story short, it doesn't even really necessarily matter with all that. But that's something I want to check out. And again, I don't know the battle plan because I haven't really made one yet because that's for year 2. But definitely looking into comicsology to see if there's something there. And, if we have to, maybe I will check out Kickstarter and stuff, even though that's not on the radar. We'll see. We'll see. It's all good. There's like I said too from the beginning, there's no negative. I'm drawing, which just is good for a lot of reasons, health wise or mental health wise, and or potential career stuff. Keeman's asking, are you ink washing every panel? Yep, this is how I do every single page. Is the shadow layer. Here, I'll show you guys another page. The reason I'm only doing this, in case you guys didn't hear before, James, he is doing flats for me. So while he's doing flats, I can do shadow. So when I get the flats, I can just copy my shadow, paste them on, and change them there. It just saves a little bit of time. So let's just go to color. What was the page that went up today? This one. So I'll show you guys so you can kind of see what the hell's going on. All right, so let's turn off all the layer effects and blend modes and all the shinies. Sure. So what I'm doing right now is let's look at this guy, right? So panel 1, I'll turn it down here. Okay, I think. Okay, I don't know what the hell. There we go. Okay. All right, so yeah, he's purple, but he could be gray, doesn't matter. So even though this color purple, the shadow here, that's what I'm doing. I'm just using gray. I can change the color after. It's not a big deal. So really, it looks kind of like, I don't know why this is showing up over here, but this is what we're shading right now, right? And once I get the flats, I just paste them in, and then you set your shadow to multiply, and it's always going to work. So that's all I'm doing right now. It's just doing a step now that I have to do anyway, and it just makes it easier once we get the flats back. The thing about Gumroad is that as long as the purchaser remembers their username and password, it's accessible from the website to read or download forever until the cloud collapses. Yep, that's a good thing too. Roger, yeah, I switched over to Comixology years ago. I had physical comics, but it started taking up too much space. Stuff I want more permanent, like some Golden Age stuff, I'd rather... Roger, you and I were in the exact same boat. I prefer to consume my comics that way too, except for when there's like an artist that I really love the work, or there's something you want. Definitely. And I think that's just... And it has been for a while, maybe just... I don't know if you guys really think about it or not, but it's been that way for a while, and it's not. I don't think it's going away anytime soon. Not, and again, we're not. I don't want to get in that argument of which one's better. That's not. There's no reason to even worry about that stuff. They both have a place. But for all my fellow creators out there, it's something that's real and to think about. You don't necessarily, in my opinion, and I don't really have one just yet, that's warranted until the moment I try to go make money off this project. And I don't consider Patreon necessarily that, but the moment I start to try to actively make income off of this, then I think I have a little bit more of a. You can kind of take what I'm saying with some reality. Right now, it's like what some of you guys are doing. It's just an opinion, and we'll see how it pays out and stuff. He got, yeah, that's a hilarious idea. Maybe wrong word. I'm surprised Freddie suggested that. But what do I know? What if DC editor has lunch with the Marvel? You know what? I mean that's fine. I really don't think it matters because this is one thing, right? And I don't think anyway that a Marvel artist is going to get a sample that's just Batman and Superman, and he's just gonna he or she's gonna throw it away, going like, no, like the temper tantrum. I want to see our characters. This is crap. If they want to see your characters, they'll let you know. But they know what Superman looks like. They know what Batman and Spider-Man look like, right? So I really wouldn't worry about it too much. I don't. I think it's a non-issue. And on the other side, you might just get an editor that is like that. That's like, no, what the hell is this? But there's a lot of editors, and some editors they're not going to like how you draw. Period. No matter how popular you get. And then some editors they're going to just eat your stuff up. They love it. They want you working on every book they have. You're like the gem in the rough they found, It's just like with your fans that we'll all have at some point. You're going to have the trolls, you're going to have the people that love your stuff and people that hate it. All kinds. Oh, D Cobbs? You're taking off? Okay, buddy. Thanks for popping in. It was weird. It looked like stream died for a sec there. You guys let me know if you can't hear the stream or see it or anything like that. I don't know. It looks like it died for a sec. Oh no. Okay. Sorry, yeah, Kiga. Yeah. You're Sorry, guys, just 1 second here. All right. Oh, it is fine now? Okay, cool. I remember reading Todd McFarlane submitted like a fiend, like hundreds of times before getting in. Luck favors the persistent and prepared. Yeah, I do think, I'll sway that into, again, I guess what I was saying before of timing. I mean, if that guy's submitting, or if anybody's submitting like non-stop, once something bad happens or when they need somebody, and they start looking at the top of the resume list, yours is kind of just sitting there. So, at least in my opinion, that's probably what happened. Let alone whether they thought the art was quality or anything. Hmm. Roger, I'm hoping to either start a webcomic this fall or first part of next year. Still working on sharpening my fundamentals of anatomy, among other things. I wish you the best, man. Hey, Jesop. What's up? Yeah? Just hanging out? Here, you want to look outside? Yeah. You come over here. Come here. No. Okay. Well, Roger, thanks. I just need to practice more, which is something I lack in motivation. It's a hobby that I want to focus on, but just gets. So is it a hobby? Like I know you said a hobby. Is it a hobby that you want to keep a hobby, or is it one of those things where, hey, if it happened, I would consider making the transition for that to be like a career thing. Panos, the work on your perspective anatomy is kind of a generic response editors throw at you. I've done my share portfolio reviews, I know. I could easily see your work on a Hulk book, for example. It's really frustrating to see great artists getting shut down by Marvel DC because the competition is down ridiculous for my creator. Swear to. Well, I appreciate that. Appreciate it. Yeah, and again, I just want to make sure that I didn't come across or sound butthurt about the reply. I'm just used to it. I'm more maybe what's the word I'm looking for? More just interested in the fact that I was dwelling on the comment being something I heard many years ago, and then I still hear it, which is like because I don't see it, but like what you're saying makes total sense too, right? Like it's almost the same carbon copy reply as thanks. As for people that already work there, that have, whatever we might consider questionable skill or ability or whatever, yeah, I'm not going to entertain it. I know what you're saying, and I'm not accusing you of nothing. I appreciate it. But I know I get it. Everybody's got different tastes and flavors and styles, right? There's so many people that I know that look at Joe Madden, it's like that's the worst art I've ever seen. There's people that look at like Alex Ross and they're like that's disgusting. Like I want my superheroes to look like superheroes or whatever the hell that means, right? But no, I'm with you, man. I do always think creator comics are a lot of possibility there, right? It's definitely something that can happen. But I will say that most of it has to come from me busting my own ass to make it happen, right? As opposed to, like I keep saying, submitting stuff to editors and stuff, which I think is great, and probably everybody should continue to do it because you never know. But to get out of that mindset of like, I think how a lot of us get trained growing up, which is you get a portfolio or a resume, whatever kind of job you're trying to hit, and you give that to a bunch of people, and whoever gives you the job, you take it, right? I need a summer job, so I'm gonna go apply to all these places, which I think is the same kind of mentality that we bring into like an art career. I don't necessarily know if that's wrong or right. I'm just something's in my brain going. You know what? As normal as that is, I think when you want something unique like an art career, we kind of have to change it up a bit. Or at least I have to change it up a bit too. So make sure that I'm including myself in that. We're seeing the black and white manga version right now. It's Could we? I think actually, hold on. Can we just do this? One sec. I mean, you might be able to. I just want to see. I'm pretty sure, right? Like, okay, click this. What is this? Yeah, check it out. You can like auto halftone it. Hey, Jojo. How are you, buddy? Now we're getting to the manga look. Like, that's funny. I think I'm enjoying that more than it really is. Okay. Raging Demon. Oh yes, more Street Fighter. I like it. Roger. I have too many hobbies. I stream also, but on a different service. I do art on there about once a week. I am a software engineer, so coding takes. Got it, my man. Hey Troy, how you doing, buddy? Davon, how you doing? All right, let's move on to the next. Le Panel. So this one, I want to think. You know, I'm gonna. I always call this cheating, but I don't know if it's really cheating. We're gonna fill this whole mofo with shadow. Since he's super close to the guy, and we'll cut out some light. One second, buddy. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. I'll catch up on the chat. Just it's time for Jesop's food, and oh boy, is he pissed. I'll be right back. Okay. Let me just catch up with you guys. Oh, you like the manga look? Okay. Yeah, see you later, Roger. Entertaining your half 20 day? Yeah, no problem, man. Troy, hey John, yep, a couple of gigs lined up. One being a detective and the new Jerry O'Connell too. Right on, man. Sounds like the career or the acting stuff is really taking off. It's good. Glad to hear it. All that hard work paying off. That'd be cheaper to print too as a manga. Yeah. Well, this is the thing, guys, right? Or at least I have zero experience in uh, maintaining, creating, and seeing like a Kickstarter through to the end. From what I always hear is it's not necessarily that cost doesn't matter. It's just that, like, let's say in this case, color, right? Like, if I were to make a color book and try to go to conventions and sell it, like, that's a huge investment. But the thing with Kickstarter is, right, like, all that money's pretty much, like, if it gets funded, then you're not that you don't have to worry about it, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not coming directly out of your pocket. It's not as much of a gamble. The other side of it is, it does, yes, like you're saying, increase the cost. So um, the amount you need to raise goes up. But I do think it doesn't even I don't even think it really matters, to be honest. If it's on Kickstarter, probably and the book looks better in color, I say go do it in color, knock it out. But that's just me right now. We'll see if I ever do end up going there. We'll see how much of horseshit that is, or if it's true. Okay, Keeman, thanks, man. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. I'm a sucker for good Street Fighter art. think, I don't know. Might be alright. We'll see. We'll see. I'm drawing while kind of watching the stream. How's all the convention stuff go too, James? Or is that coming up? Am I getting my dates mixed up? Oh, sorry, maybe I'm getting mixed up. I thought you were going to a convention. My bad if I got that mixed up. Could have swore it was you, but if you're if you were replying convention question mark, then yeah, most likely it wasn't you. Or maybe you were talking about. I just remember your name in convention, so I'm just maybe it was during a conversation we were all having during a stream, possibly. I don't know. Anyway. Hmm. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, there'll always be a New York Comic Con, you know. Yeah, sorry to hear that, man. How is it? Is it bad or is it early stuff? Okay, that's good. Well, good considering. See you, Panos. So some of these shadows here, we're gonna, once I get the color back, when we fix this up, I can go over here in the speed line. These should all be white. So right now it just flattens it out the way it is. Alright guys, that should be it for today. Save that up. Should be streaming a lot more this week. We'll see. The week's usually pretty busy with the gym and all that stupid shit, but hopefully I will see you all soon. Thank you all, everybody that popped in today, and those of you that participated in the chat. I do appreciate you guys' time. And for everybody that was drawing along and all that cool stuff, I hope you guys keep drawing, and I hope it all works out for you. And yeah, so until I see you guys next time, keep reading comics, keep making comics. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.